Behind the Scenes with Couples Couch.
I'm Pat and she's Storm.
Welcome to Behind the Scenes with Couples Couch, our new series.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Cam. Let's get right into it. In our new series, we'll be discussing a variety of topics. Sometimes the topics will come from viewers. Sometimes we'll just talk about what we think is important or what we think is interesting. And it'll just be from our perspective. We're not researching anything. Whatever we say is just straight off the top of our dome.
Yeah, we got to put a disclaimer in there because I'm going to give it to you how I see it. Don't try none of this at home. Wrong, right, or indifferent. That's how I see it.
So let's get into our new series, Behind the Scenes. We received a viewer's request for a video. She sent in a few questions and she wants to hear our viewpoints on dating and marriage.
But does she though?
We did just do a full season of Married at First Sight, so this works right in perfectly. Perfect timing, perfect everything. And we can just let you guys know how we think or how it worked for us. Right? More so.
Into January when the new
Married at First Sight
come on.
Yeah. Then behind the scenes, we'll take a back seat while we review the new season in January. But let's get right into the few questions that we have. First question. Why did we choose each other for marriage?
You go first.
That's a deep question. Like, why? No, you go ahead and tell me, why did you choose me for marriage?
What's the name of the person that this in?
Shantae.
Yes. I don't think we chose each other for marriage. Like, I think we chose each other for a date. Then they chose each other for a second date.
And then we chose each other to hang out with on a regular basis?
Yeah. It's like we just... I really wasn't looking to get married. Like,
that's funny that you say that because I honestly... 2011?
Yeah, then I'll go
with
it. Sounds good to me.
I was not looking to be married.
2019.
I wasn't looking to be married either. All funny jokes aside.
Lies.
I wasn't looking to be married, but I was looking for God to send me the right one.
Bam!
Now, I don't know. I think he's still working on that request. I'm just kidding. No, but I vividly, and Pat laughs all the time when I say it, but I remember praying a specific prayer that week. I think it was like a Monday night or a Sunday night. Maybe a Sunday night. I think it was the start to my week. Why are you smiling so hard? And the prayer, and it was a simple praise. I'm not used to having a microphone. God, please send me somebody that wants the same things that I do.
And
in a relationship.
Did you talk to him with your hands like that?
Yeah, I was all up in here with it. I was like, please, I can't with the food. It was just like, I just want somebody who wants the same thing relationship-wise. And then that Friday, y'all, Pat asked me on a date. And you did. And don't say I asked you because I did not ask you out on a date. And then,
I wasn't going to say that, but that'll lead the listeners to know that there's some guilt associated with that. So she asked me out first.
Never. He always says I asked him. But honestly,
she was lonely and praying for a man. She saw this.
Now I'm lonely.
And she couldn't help herself.
Praying for a man.
You probably don't remember asking me out. You blacked out a little bit.
Really?
I'm
No, but seriously, like, as far as why choosing each other for marriage, it organically just went that way.
Yeah.
You know, call it destiny, call it fate, call it a good decision-making skill of, I don't know.
I've never been a planner. So when we first met, marriage wasn't even
on the front of your
brain.
brain.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I never had a thought about it. I didn't have a thought about it until we had been together for a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because it didn't come up until 2 years after is when you proposed.
Yeah, it was 2 years.
Yeah. And you had all the qualities I needed. Like, you had a career, you still have the same career. You're good looking.
Thank you.
Okay, let's not go too far. We're not trying to blow his head up in here.
Listen, Storm.
And we share the same core values,
Yeah.
Like, we believe in God. We believe not to harm other people. We believe, you know what I mean?
Those are 2 beliefs. Yo, believe in God, don't harm nobody else. Outside of that, I know what you mean.
Like, we shared the core values that we need. The morals and values were there, right?
The home training was the same.
And we were raised
similar,
yeah. So yeah, and you came from a good family. Not to say that people who don't come from a good family can't be in a long relationship.
No, it's okay to say. I'm proud. My parents are still together to this day.
Yes.
Her parents are together. My grandparents are still together.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So our foundation that was laid for us was, it made for a successful relationship between the two of us too.
Right. And the day we met, the earth literally shook.
There was an earthquake that day. We didn't meet that day, but we knew of each other that day. I've seen you plenty times before. And to give you guys some quick background stories, I guess.
You don't have to be quick. It's our show. We can go. We got a lot of time to fill.
Pat and I met in D.C.
Yep.
And that day that you're speaking of, an earthquake happened in D.C. I worked as the assistant property manager. Pat worked for the government, and as the assistant property manager, I have to account for all my tenants in the building.
Time out. You're about to make these people think I'm for real crazy. There's even more backstory to that, because you're going to go with the first words that I spoke to you, and without the background, I guess they're going to hear it like you heard it for the first time.
Let's just say that
we lived close to each other already, though we didn't know it.
Yeah.
And I was out trying to get my body, get in shape. I was jogging, and I had seen her driving, so I knew the apartment complex that she lived in, because I had seen her there, and we worked together, but we didn't know. She didn't know at this time that we lived near each other.
In the same community. Right. We lived in the same subdivision. I lived in the apartments, and there are townhomes within the same subdivision Pat lived in, and I didn't know. So, I was, living my best Sex in the City life in my Carrie Bradshaw apartment. What are you about to say? You were about to say something.
You was living your best watching Sex in the City in your apartment.
Yeah, okay. So you're right. Yes, this is true. And a little Golden Girls. So
Frasier.
Yes, it's a Frasier. So yes, we lived in the same community, and I didn't know, but the day of the earthquake, I had to account for all my tenants. It's a commercial office building. All the tenants are out at the field, making sure all their employees are safe. So I'm checking everybody off. Everyone's safe.
In the company I was working for, I was in charge of gathering the accountability for all the employees and reporting it to her as like a side.
And we never spoke prior to that. And he came up to me and he said,
"Not true. I told you they were all accounted for."
You told me everybody was safe. And then you said, "I know where you live." Now, as the single Sex in the City person that I am, I was like, "Oh Lord, I have a stalker." And I think that's what I said to you. I said, "You're a stalker." And you were just looking at me like, no, that came out wrong. But by then, I've moved on. I've moved on. I'm trying to check off the next tenant and make sure them and their employees are safe.
Yeah, and believe me, if I would have hit you with the line that I have for you, oh, you'd have fell in love right there. Like, I had built myself up. I knew what I was going to say. I got there. I told you they were accounted for. And then I was supposed to say more, but I said less.
You said the wrong thing.
And so she's like, "Are you a stalker?" And tried to move on. I'm like, no, check it out. Like, we live near each other. I was running and I saw you.
Long story short, we started dating and you asked me to marry you 2 years after. On Christmas Day. Yeah. And pretty much it's been history from there. And to be transparent, I have already been married once before.
Yeah, me too.
And Pat has already been married once before. So we both got those starter marriages out the way. That's pretty much why we chose each other for marriage. Like, we share the same core values. We have the same belief.
Yeah. Work well as a team. We
do work well together as a team. I could always count on him. Patrick's very dependable. I know I'm dependable. Right? Yeah. I need confirmation here. Yeah. You're just sitting here like...
No, you are.
And and those are things that are a requirement. You know, and from the gate, Patrick...
and you're hot. I mean, that's for me.
Thank you. Shut up. So I just felt like this is somebody I could see myself being with long term. Like, I can depend on you. I can trust you. We share the same values. I can see myself having children with you. You know, those are reasons why.
The whole time I'm just walking through life, not planning for none of this stuff.
Let's get into the next question. Next question. In the last Married at First Sight episode, we revealed that you didn't want to be married or have children.
Yep.
How did I get him there is the question that was asked. And the follow-up question is, what made Patrick change his mind? So I'll say this. I didn't get him anywhere. You can't get a man to do anything if he doesn't want to do it. And honestly, you can't get a person to do anything if they honestly
don't want
to do it.
Want to do it.
And if they do it, it won't be long lasting.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing it wholeheartedly.
Right.
So I honestly did not get Pat anywhere. I didn't change his mind on why did you want to be married. Because before you tell your story, I remember the night in Maryland, because remember we met back in the DC area.
DMV.
We had a whole argument at your mother and father's table about how you don't see why you would want to bring kids in this world. Look how this world is. And you don't want to be married. And at that point, even though I wasn't trying to be married in the next 2 years and the next whatever years, I knew at some point in my life I wanted to remarry and I wanted to experience having children and have children. And he was on the total opposite spectrum to where I was like, is this what I want? And then now you can interject.
Well, I don't want to say I never wanted that. I told you I didn't want to have kids.
Yes.
And
strongly you told me about it.
Right, but that was pretty much a lie. Like I always wanted to have kids. But I didn't want to just have kids with someone.
Right.
And then not be with the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you wanted to be married with kids. Yeah.
And I found, and this is just what I've seen, that sometimes women they fall in love with the thought of being married or having kids, and they're in love with that idea more than they are with the person. So as bad and as messed up as it sounds, like I was, and I think we've talked about this since, like I was kind of testing you, like, like,
oh yeah, you did tell me that after the fact, that you was trying to see if I was only gonna stick around because I wanted to be married or wanted to just have kids, which is some
not really, but it wasn't that simple. Like, oh, are you only with me because you want to have my kid? I'm not that so simple.
Right.
It was just
Prince Charles.
It was just more like you gotta, I don't know, create some I'm not saying it's right, but
so you're trying to say you had to create like some type of drama to see if I would stick through it?
Yeah. Like anybody can run 2 laps around the track. Why don't you run 6? Let's see what you made out of from lap 4 to 6. So you're trying to tell me
you put on this whole charade of an argument?
It wasn't a charade.
Because it was serious.
I mean, I was feeling it as I got further into
there was no going back at that point.
Yeah, I can do that about pretty much anything. You give me a topic, and I feel like, oh, it's me against you. I'll ride this topic.
And you know what, you guys? Now that I know Patrick a lot better, and going back to that conversation, I could see that he was just being ornery.
All cap. At the time when it was said, you had to sit down and have a real thought with yourself. Like,
I did. I had to
do
have
I
a
even want to
conversation
put
with
up with this idiot?
Yeah.
And
that's right
stayed.
when Steve Harvey's book dropped.
Yeah.
Think like a man, but act like a woman. So I was all into that book too, trying to figure out a man's brain. And then this one comes with this topic.
And you keep calling it foolishness, but it got the results I wanted.
And Steve Harvey's book did work, because look. So to be clear, and make sure we're answering the question clearly, why did you get married, or what changed your mind on getting married and having kids? Good question.
Okay, to be clear, my mind never changed.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was just using, like a peacock shows its feathers, like get big, get away, I'm scary.
Yes.
It was kind of like that. Like, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids. I mean, I always wanted to have kids. Like, being a father is my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to have kids.
But kids. You were just a little apprehensive with who?
I wanted to be selective about who I was having kids and getting married to.
Okay. So even though he told me one thing, he really felt another.
Yeah, deep down.
Deep down.
I didn't want kids at that time, though.
No, yeah.
I didn't want kids at that time. But I wasn't against having them in the future, and I might not have made that clear on purpose.
I'm done. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, next question. So in the last episode of the Married at First Sight review, we talked a little bit about us not feeling comfortable with our spouse being alone with the opposite sex. Right. And Shantae wants us to elaborate a little bit more on that.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not too much to go down into, but it kind of sums it up. I don't feel comfortable with it because I just don't trust.
She go talking with her hand.
The ratchetness. I just don't trust females. You know what I mean? Now, if this even was a friend that you had before we met, I would be a little bit more like, okay, possibly, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But even that would still be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I just don't feel comfortable with. I'm not saying you got to be at work and you can't talk to nobody. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. But you can't be like, oh, me and Michelle are about to go out for drinks tonight. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I'd be like, say what now? Okay. So that's just my views on, the friend thing. What's your views on it?
You ain't had no guy friends when I met you. So I didn't have to worry about it.
Right. Yes.
And now, for what?
To be like, I'm about to go hang out with Bob tonight. I'll see you later. Just me and Bob.
Where me, you, and Bob going? Here's the thing. We both have talked about it early on, or we made our opinions felt on it.
Yeah.
And we just went with it. So. Yeah,
and neither of the two of us care enough to be like, well, I need to be able to go out.
I ain't got no female friends. Here's another thing. I ain't got no female friends that I like enough to fight over you for damn near anything.
True. Facts. Same.
All it would take is, I don't like, if I was around a female like that, but I don't like you being around. All right. I'll tell her to come around.
It's too much. To me, it just adds an extra layer or variable to the pot that we don't need.
Right.
So it's just like, to each his own, though. However it works for y'all. Remember, this is our perspective on how it works for us in this household here. So whatever works for y'all, if you have a Michelle and Tim and Bob and Misha,
y'all can go for Tamika, drinks and talk about each other's life problems, and that works for you. And that
works for you. Do you, boo? Yeah. Next question. What would we teach our children about finding the right one and marriage? So what would we teach our children about finding the right one, and what would we teach our children about marriage? Finding the right one, be sure the person respects you. And that's on each end. We have a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old right now. So we're definitely not talking to them about marriage.
No.
Right now it's just tracing your numbers and sight words.
I don't like this question.
So we haven't even gotten there yet. But if I had to talk to them about finding the right one, make sure A, the person respects you, and B, of course, loves you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I look at the whole person, because if you build or put the right building blocks to build a person that respects the world and respects the people in the world.
Yes.
Then all that other, like,
that
people,
will all fall in line.
people that know how to respect,
yes,
don't allow others to disrespect them most times.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that's like me, like my parents, we never sat, I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about girls and boys stuff, but it was never like, you need to look for this in a person, you look for that in a person. Like,
Yeah.
I was just surrounded by the type of women to where
You knew that was the
that
standard.
was this, yeah, that
Yeah.
was the standard.
Same.
The
Same.
type of women I grew up with, my grandmother, my mother, my aunts.
Yeah.
Like the people that were around me, the women that were around me.
Yes. Was the standard.
Yeah, was the standard and what I went looking for when I was looking for.
And then with that being said, our kids will also have those women in their lives as their examples of how men and women should be and should treat them. And then our relationship also is used as an example for the kids to know how to treat each other. Like, daddy's always there for mommy, mommy's always there for daddy. They don't see us, acting up and being crazy,
not
and
disrespecting each other,
not calling each other out, each other's names, cursing and all.
It's happened.
Yeah. They just haven't seen it. And I'm just kidding. No. We don't do that. But honestly, it's like...
We don't. No, just
I can't stand him.
I can't stay serious too long.
But yes, so that answers that question, right?
For my daughter, I guess it's a question about kids. Like, I'm trying to ruin any chance any future male has in her life. I'm being serious.
Because he's trying to spoil her so bad.
I open doors for, like...
Yeah.
Like,
he spoils her so much that sometimes she just goes straight to him for everything. I'd be like, hold on, I'm here. Like, I can help.
Whatever man gets her, good luck.
Yeah.
You gonna have to bring it.
Yes.
Ain't gonna be stopping in front the door, honking your horn, nah, bro. She not going for it.
She not gonna be easily
She gonna be
impressed
like a mom
at all.
Yeah, and she's got a mom to look, to model herself at.
Yeah,
like,
definitely molding that mind, on what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. Last question. Do we have any regrets?
Wait, pause. I think this question should be asked individually, apart in a closet, like they do on MTV Cribs, and then either one of us should be able to see it until it's posted to
until
YouTube.
It's aired. It's like, oh, so that's just how he was feeling this whole time?
And both of us have had a chance to get a good amount of distance away from the other one.
You're a mess.
No, I'm just playing.
You're a mess.
For me, I got no regrets.
I got no regrets either. Like, everything played out exactly how I would have wanted it to. Like, we were able to spend the first 3 years together, enjoying just being together.
Building us.
Getting to know each other. Then we had, Peyton, our first child, and then PJ thereafter. Of course, we got married before Peyton came, sorry, not in that order. So we had 3 years together, then we got married, and then we had Peyton, and then we had PJ. So I don't have any regrets on how our relationship or marriage is. And marriages work, so there's always room to grow, right?
There's always
as a person,
work
we gotta
to be
grow
done.
together. You gotta grow together. That's the
You
thing.
do.
Some people grow apart, and then that's where divorce comes in.
Yeah, you gotta be involved in the growth of the other person. Like they're not a plant. You can't sit back and watch them grow.
Right.
Like, grow
and
right
admire
past
them.
you.
You
Yeah,
gotta be involved.
Be involved like this. Though this whole thing.
This whole setup
that we're doing now. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to be doing any of this, but
no.
Kamar started doing it. She saw that she enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And
now
then
here
I
you are.
just, I was
And now
like,
I pulled you in, and we're doing it together.
yeah, it's fun now. But like I've said, like I just was just doing this for you because I wanted to be a part of something that you enjoy. Like,
Right. Yeah.
and same for like I play some flag football and Kamara come out to the game. Oh, I used to, got hurt.
Shade.
But
Yeah. So he used to
But
be
she
a
was
quarterback,
always
and then I would come out to the games
And-
in DC
Right.
and watch you play, and that made like I enjoyed watching you do what you enjoy, and here you are
It was huge.
paying it forward.
Right, and it was huge, but it also going back to me saying I didn't want kids, like you sitting out there on some of them hot days and just sitting there, like
Yeah.
it showed me like, all right, she's
Yeah.
that's not the reason, but
Yeah.
it was part of the building blocks. It was like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah. That made us solid as a unit right there, right? So
that didn't, but it was part of it.
I know that couldn't be if that's all it took to come to a couple games.
I got some regrets.
I'm done. So yes, and that's the thing about being married to and not having any regrets is to always try to make some time for you as a couple, right?
When we gonna do that?
We're doing it now.
This is time.
This is couple.
I choose to spend my time differently.
Nasty. That's it for this episode of Behind the Scenes with Couples Couch. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, hit us up in the comment section below. Drop your comments about this episode. We want to hear from you. We love talking to you guys in the comments. Be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button to support our channel. We love you guys for watching. We thank you guys for watching. We will see you in next week's episode of Behind the Scenes with Couples Couch. What are all
I do
these?
own it. I own a
wedding
ring.
ring. Yes, you have a wedding ring. Bye.